Recording. Please kindly confirm to me that you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. In fact, it's the I'm noticing that it's majorly the 5 people that have been active that are in this class today. At least if they tell me to point out people that I know that have been active since the beginning of data analysis with Excel to this point. The exact 5 people I'm seeing them here. Please keep it up and do not relent. To transition might not be easy, but it's always worth it. So this is just the first stage. There will still be more, and the learning does not stop here. It does not stop here. There will always be new things to learn, and there will be some things you have to unlearn. So there are some things that you might learn today, and later in the future you will not need it again. Although no knowledge is wasted. So we should always learn to grow. So let's start creating our what dashboard. Yes. So we have created our pivot tables. Remember, to create dashboard is working with what? Charts. Let me reduce this and see all the charts that we have. So the pivot tables. So this one, region and sum of revenue. What this thing did it tell us to use according to the question? It told us to use what? A bar chart. So let's do that. We create what? Pivots. Pivot table analyze. Pivot chart. Please, I hope you're following. After clicking on it, click on pivot table analyze, then click on what? Pivot chart. We're using a bar chart for this one, so we click on it. We'll click on what? Bar chart. The next step is we want to move this chart to our dashboard. We want to move this chart to our dashboard. So how to do it is that you click on that chart, right click, it again, click on right click on move chart. Then where are we moving the chart to? We're moving the chart to what? Dashboard. Then click on what? Okay. So can we see that we have it? Sorry. We have the chart here. Let me see how many percent I put this at 60%. So let me put this at 60% too. So let's put this one here. Let's reduce it a bit because we still have more charts that we're about to put in. What is the next one? Second one, this, if I'm right. And they told us to use what for that? A pie chart, profit by category. Use what? Pie chart. So go back to pivot table. We click on this, pivot analyze. Click on what? Pivot chart. And click on what? Pie chart. Click on what? Okay. Okay, so we want to move the chart. Right click. Click on what? Move chart. We're moving it to what? The dashboard. Click OK. Let's put it beside. So this is the what? Second chart. Let me drag this way. You know what? We'll come back to designing this. Let's get all the pivot tables ready. Then row and what? Sum of revenue. Why did it tell us to use a what? Column charts. I think we revenue by membership class. So we've made a mistake. This was supposed to be what? Okay, we are correct. This is the membership class and revenue. Can we convert this to table? That is why. Can you see what just happened? It didn't give me this title because I didn't convert this to table. Let me press Ctrl Z. I remember we're doing it, but we didn't finish. So show in tabular form. Let me do for the other ones that we've not done. Show in tabular form. I think we've done for these ones. Yes, we've done for the rest. So those two we didn't do for it. So back to what did you say we should use? What chart? A column what chart? So I would click on this. Insert. Pivot analyze. Pivot chart. Then we're using what column chart. Click on what? Okay. Let's move the chart to our dashboard. So you right click, go to move. What? Go to what? Dashboard. You click on what? Okay. I should use it. This is the third chart. I think we have about 7 charts. The next chart, this. Into the question, it told us to use what? A bar chart. Sales rep. Okay, no question. So it says sales rep performance should be what? Bar chart too. Go to pivot table. Highlight. We click on it. Pivot analyze. Pivot chart. Then what? Bar chart. Click on what? Okay. The bar chart, you can pick any one of your choice. But let's just remember it's this clustered bar chart. Click on OK. Then right click. Move chart. Then go to what? Dashboard. Click OK. Let's put this here. Please, I hope you guys understand how I'm readjusting. So you can use this thing beside to readjust it the way you want. Please, just take note of that. This dots beside to readjust the way you want. Then, where's the next one? State sales level. State level sales by what region? It asks for what? A stacked bar chart. So pivot table. Click on this. Pivot analyze. Pivot chart. Bar chart. This clustered bar. This stacked bar chart. So click on what? Okay. Right click. Remove the charts. So what? Dashboard. Click on what? Okay. Has been readjusted. Then what's the next one? Remember, let's do this last one first. Discount rating insight. So which is this is it here. Pivot analyze. Now this is a scattered plots here. Now, can you see what it's telling us here? It's saying you can't recreate this chart type with data inside a pivot table. Please select a different chart type or copy the data outside the pivot table. What it's trying to tell you is that even though they told us to use, sorry, where is it? To use scattered a scattered chart for this one, for this particular one. Excel is not recognizing that pivot table as something that can create, a scattered chart. And this is one of the, should I say, one of the issues that come between Excel and Power BI. Power BI will help you create a scattered chart or a scattered plot from this. Are we together? So I just did that for you to understand. Should we use a chart of our choice, or no, let's leave it. You can use any chart of your choice. I just wanted you to see it. I wanted you to see that error that would come. So there are some charts that, your pivot table is not in sync with that chart. So because you're in your mind, you say you want to use one chart to show one chart in your dashboard. Ensure that that pivot table that you've created can generate that kind of chart. Probably later, like I said, I'll be gathering videos together, so I'm going to send it to the group chat too for you all, you know. So when you're during your personal time, your free time, you learn. Remember, I told you when it comes to charts too, you have to know when to use the best form of charts. It's not that as a data analyst, it's not that you say because I like this chart, let me put this chart here. Is this chart conveying the message it's supposed to convey? So for this, where is it? The pivot table, members payment method by membership. So you can where is it? This you can just highlight here, click on move. Sorry, what's going on? Pivot analyze, actions, move pivot table. Please let me do it once again. So you can click on it. You click on that pivot table, go to actions, then go to move pivot table. Let me do it one more time. You click on that pivot table, go to pivot analyze, click on actions, click on move pivot table. We are moving pivot table this time because they're saying it's pivot table that we should use for this interaction. So where are we moving it? We are moving it to an existing worksheet. And where's the location? I removed what is there because it's showing me pivot table, but the location is the dashboard. Then we can put it. Let's put it here. Click on Okay. So this is the pivot table here. Together now. So let me readjust. Now I'm not trying to make my design as bit. I just want you to understand. So when during your free time, you can take your time to, and please understand your dashboard. Let me just let you know. Your dashboard must be presentable. Now, me teaching you because I just want you to understand. I might just, put it how I like. But when working with your dashboard, make sure it is aesthetically pleasing to those viewing your context. So let me rearrange this. Pivot analyze actuals. Move pivot table. Let me put it here. Okay, so here, backspace. Click on what? Okay. This happen. Sorry. Come, let me take this back. Back to pivot table. Let me highlight this back. Make it red. Pivot table. The question. Okay. So click on it again. Pivot analyze. Go to action. Move pivot table. Let me do this. So let's leave this first. Now, okay, before we add slicers, let's work on our KPIs for you to just see it. So for the KPIs part, the first one we created was what? Was sum of what? Revenue. So let's put our sum of what? Revenue here. Let me increase this so that we can see very well. So for our revenue, we can put now inside this box. Remember, we remove the formula tab. Before doing that, let's do this. Please, I want you to follow me. Let me insert one more shape. So I can just make it a text box directly. Text box is just to serve as an heading for me. Then Control D. Control D. Control D is to duplicate. Control D. D for dog. I remember saying it yesterday. Is to what? Duplicate. So D. And what? Control D. Last one, Control what? D. What's supposed to be inside? I think the first one is what? Sum of revenue. The other one is sum of what? Profit. Here we can just put total revenue and increase this a bit. The other one we can put what? Sum of what? Profits. So you can name it total profits. total profits. The next one we can is what? I think is average. Average what? Profit margin. So average profits what margin. So let's increase this a bit because we want it to contain. Present the one under two. Whereas after average profit margin, we have what? Average revenue. Average. We can put it in small. AVG what? Revenue. Then after average revenue, what do we have? Average customer what? Rating, then sum of quantity sold. So we can just put customer rating instead of putting average. We can put customer rating. Then we can just put what? Quantity sold. Okay. Please, when you are doing your own, you can take your time to make it look very, very beautiful. I just want you to understand the concept of creating what. Our total revenue, please, I need you to listen attentively here. For total revenue, how do we get it here? This is it here. This is what we have here as what? Sum of revenue, sum of profit. This average revenue, average customer rating, and what? Sum of what? Quantity sold. So what you do is, remember we remove the formula bar. Let's click inside here. They say that we want to put something inside here. Please make sure, look at it. When I clicked on it, it ensured that this place was what? Highlighted. So I click on it, then I go to view. I make sure my formula bar is opened back. So while I'm clicking on this string that is inside, I type equals to. Please look at it, equals to sign. Then I go to the pivot table. Then I click on the value I had under sum of revenue. So you see it blinking like this. Together, you see it blinking this way. Then go back to your dashboard, press what? Enter. So the value is supposed to be here. What's going on? Okay, this was not blinking. So we click again, equals to. Equals to pivot table. We click on it. Click on what? Sorry, please. That's supposed to be the correct way to do it. We'll do it one more time. Okay. I think I found the mistake, the error. So equals to this. Okay. Dashboard equals to where's the error? Let me show you what just happened. So before I take the values from here, let me backspace. Before I can take my value from the pivot table, what I should do is that these values that were generated, I need to bring them out because I want to link it to another sheet. I'm not moving the pivot table to another sheet. You know, this thing alone like this is already a pivot table, even though it's just one column that is there, it's still a table. So but I need the values inside. So what I'll do is I'll call the value in another cell. So it's called the value. I'll first put equals to, then I click on this value, the value I want to use, then click on what? Enter. I've done that. Now I want to move it to what? The dashboard. So back inside this space, yeah, I make sure I double click and see there's an arrow inside blinking. You must ensure that it's blinking. You might not see it well now because of the color, but there's an arrow, a cursor, sorry, blinking inside. So once it's blinking, I come to this formula space that I opened. Remember, we brought out our formula back and put equals to sign. Go back to pivot table, then click that one we just created, the new one, and press what? Enter. Now our value is here, but we want to be able to see our value, so we adjust using this. Any one of your choice, you can adjust it anyway. This on top, this is center, this is what bottom alignment. I can say, please let it be in what? The center. And you can now increase the text to any size of your choice, but we'll still do that. So let's do for the others. So let's do it once. Remember, we'll do equals to here. For sum of profit, we click on it and click on what? Enter. We do the same for profit margin, equals to, click on it, enter. Revenue equals to, click on this, enter. Average customer rating equals to, click on the value on top, enter. And quantity sold equals to, click on the value on top, enter. Now let's move them. Let's do for sum of profits. We go to this dashboard, this total profits. Make sure you are clicking until you can see a cursor blinking inside. Let's see if I can zoom this for us very well. Yes. So can you see there's a cursor blinking inside? So you are clicking on this one, this particular shape, and you're sure that the cursor blinking inside. Then you type equals to. We go to the pivot table, click on this, click on what? Enter. That one has moved. Let's adjust it so that you can see very well. On to the next one. Average profit margin is blinking inside. Double tap equals, sorry. Come here to the formula tab, equals to. We go to the pivot table, we click on what? The average profit margin. And click on what? Enter. Let's ensure that it's showing. We bring it down into the what? To the center. Remember, this place is for what? The alignment, where you want it to be. Let's do for average revenue. Pivot table. Click on revenue. Sorry. After double clicking on this, You go to the formula side, click on what equals to, go to pivot table, click on what the average revenue, enter. Let's adjust it so we can see it. The customer rating, double click inside again, come to the formula space, type equals to, you go back to your pivot table, click on this for formula customer rating, then enter. Let's adjust down, down. Then what is the last one? The last one is what? Quantity sold. So double click on it, click on equals to. Sorry, you come to this formula space, type equals to. Click on what? Pivot table. Where is it? Quantity sold. Click on what? Enter. Now, I've readjusted everything. So, technically, we have built our dashboard. Now, remember, it might not be looking so pleasing at the moment because you still do a lot of editing. But if you start doing that, we are wasting the entire time. I'll send you some YouTube links and you understand wireframing. So once you've gotten fast the data, and you can just create different sets of your like a sketch. So you understand, you just keep them somewhere of all your how you want to be doing your dashboards. So if you have a job, you not start thinking, should I put this here? Should I put this there? You already have a wireframe. Wireframe is like a pre-version with you that you're just going to be copying and pasting your work to make it faster. But if I say we should start now to make this very, very beautiful, to take a lot of our time, and we won't meet the goal we won't meet our goal for today. Our goal is just for you to understand how you create your dashboard. Now, for the final thing, remember I always said we always need to make our dashboard responsive. We always need to make our dashboard responsive. You know what? Before I do that, let me change the colors of this. Oh no, let me add the slicers first. So to do that, we add slicers. And to add slicers, we go to the pivot table. Let's click on one. Let's click on this one. And we click on is it design? Sorry, pivot analyze. Remember how to add slicer. And click on insert slicer. Now it's telling us what slicer do we want to insert. So to me, I feel region is good for us as a slicer. Remember, the best things to always use for slicer most times are categorical values. You can use number values too if the numbers are not a lot, but the ones that explains different category, you understand, is the best to use for slicers. So we can use region for slicer. We can use payment method for slicer. I'm not going to use more than 3. When you're working, you can use as many as you want, as long as you understand what you're doing. And let's use membership class as slicer. So we're going to have 3 different slicer. Now click on okay. That's created the 3. So remember, I told you a slicer is what makes your chart responsive. Now this 3, remember, we use just this one to create the slicer, which means it's only connected to this one. But let us connect it to all the charts, all the pivot tables that we have created. So I'm clicking on all the 3. You click on shift to click on all the 3 slicers together. Okay, sorry. Slicer is different from pivot table. We click on just one. So let's click on this one. We clicked on this one. Click on report connection. Then just highlight everything that is here. Highlight everything. Everything. Ensure you're checking it so that everything is what's being highlighted. Reason being that reason why it's doing this is because there are some pivot tables that we created that we also deleted, but we don't know the names of these our pivot table because we've not named each of the pivot tables. So that's why I said we should highlight everything. It's not going to spoil your work. You just highlight everything that you see there, tick on it. That's what I'm doing. And I click on what? Okay. I've connected membership class slicer. Let's connect payment method. I click on it, click on what? Report connection. I make sure we are lighting on what? Sorry. Click on it, report connection. I make sure you are clicking everything that is there. Everything. There is no one that is left. Always confirm. The only time you can decide not to click on everything is if you know the name of the pivot table that you created. You click on what? Okay. We've connected the second one. Now let's connect this last one. Click on it. Go to report connection. I click on everything. All of this, then click on what? Okay. So all our slices are what? Connected. And now we want to move them to the dashboard. So we click on the three. 1, 2, 3. Right click. Or you can just press Ctrl C. Let's just do that. Let's do that. After clicking on the 3, press Ctrl C, which is to copy. Go to the dashboard and press on what? Ctrl V. Everything is here. So you can arrange. Now let's arrange them. Adjust this. I have what? My slicers. Now, the major thing I want you to understand quickly first is now like this, you've created a what? You've created a dashboard. You've created a dashboard. Please, during your free time, understand how to make your dashboard aesthetically pleasing. By aesthetically pleasing, I mean attractive enough because no matter the work you do, especially non-technical people in the field, especially when you're presenting to them, and you know the way human beings are, they will not really think too about the work you've done. They'll be like, why is your dashboard looking it's too scattered. Sure, you get, they can tell you it's not looking understandable. Although it might be understandable, but as long as your dashboard is not well presentable, and I'll send you videos to on that on how to create dashboards for your customers to understand. So let's do this. To know that you've created a dashboard, look at everything. You can take a screenshot down and look at what's about to happen. If I say now, if you ask me, so I want to know how my product has been performing in the East. I click on East. Can you see that everything has changed? I'm seeing the total revenue I had in the East. I'm seeing the total profit I had in the East, the average profit margin in the East. So that you've done a complete analysis. So your dashboard is telling them now what they need to see. You can also tell them, okay, so in the East, the bronze membership, we generated over 2 million, or is that 20 million that I'm saying there? Over 20 million. Do you understand? If you click from the East, you click away from the East by removing the filter. Can you see everything back? We're having 100 million for bronze medalists. For bronze membership, this for gold. So this is the total. But they're telling you now they want to see for the East to click on it. You get it? They're saying they want to see for the East and those that did bank transfer. You're clicking on it. So from those in the East, the total revenue we had was what? 44,008. Is 0141. You understand? So these are people from the east that used what bank transfer. Are we together? So that is simple on how to create a dashboard. Is there any question concerning dashboard at the moment before we move to revision? Let me close this. Do you have any questions concerning creating dashboards?
Please, I want to know how you got that report connection. As in how you're able to
Okay.
analyze three categories.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, just not to waste time, I'm going to use just one slicer to do it. Or I can just show you from here from the beginning again. So I said that you have 3 slicers. But remember, we use just one pivot table to generate these 3 slicers. This 1, this 2, and this was 3. But we want the slicers to be connected. Remember, it's your pivot table that is generating a chart. Your slicers works with the pivot table before transferring the new look of the pivot table to the charts. Do we understand? So I created these 3, and to connect the first one, which was this membership class, I clicked on it to show you the slicer tab. I clicked on the slicer tab, and I clicked on what report connection. When you click on this report connection, to show you all the pivot tables that you have ever created. Now I said, except you know the pivot table names, you can decide to skip some, but it's not going to spoil your work to just click on everything. You are checking on all of this. Make sure all of these check boxes are ticked. So once you've done that and you click on what okay, you've connected this slicer to what all your pivot tables, which in turn will affect all of your charts. Remember, all these pivot table, everything here plus this one that is just one, is what generated everything that we are seeing here. Now, because I don't want the slicers to be here, I wanted to move it to what dashboard. All I just did was to use shift and I clicked on what the 3 of them. Are we together? This slicer that I've created it, and I press Control C. Control C is to what copy. And I went to dashboard and clicked on what Control V to what paste it. See them here. That's pasted everything. You understand? So whatever the slicer is doing there, to still do it here. Let me delete this. Now, remember I told you what a slicer. Okay, do you understand now? Or
Yes.
okay, then I don't need to stress. So the last thing I wanted to say. Remember I told you the slicer works with the pivot table first before going to the dashboard. So look at this pivot table. I just want you to look at this one, at least, or this east. Look at any of these 2. Store the values in your head. Store the values that you can see there. If I come to this dashboard now and I click what east, everything here changed. Every single thing here changed. This total profits, the total revenue changed. If you come to the pivot table, you see it here too. They've all changed. So the slicer is working majorly with the pivot table. I know this, your pivot table. So your pivot table is the link between what your slicer and your what charts. Your pivot table is the link between your slicer and what the charts that you've what created. So slicers are also what's very, very important. When you get to Power BI, there are some places when you get there, you realize that you don't really need to put slicers sometimes. Slicers are beautiful, but there's a way Power BI does its interaction, that one chart can interact with the other charts if need be. That's why most people use Power BI to create. You can clean your data in Excel, but they build their dashboard in what Power BI. But you need to understand the concept first from Excel. We've come to the end of everything concerning data analysis. Before I start revision, let me close this. Is there any question? Okay. Let me just show you. I'll use one chart to show you. So if you want to redesign your charts, design the shapes of what you have here. If you want to redesign it, what you can do is you can click on one chart, click on this paint, click on chart styles to bring this other charts, click on color, you can pick a color combination that what you want. Please notice that though. You can click on it, You click on the paint, it show you this that you want, the different chart styles. You click on color, you can select a particular color that you want. These are the color palettes, the monochromatic colors. Please we'll be looking. Now, the major parts, the other parts that people use is this. Sorry, wait. So you right click. Please let me do it one more time. When you're on the chart, you right click, then click on what? Format chart area. When you click on format chart area, this thing is going to come out. So these are what chart options. So you can click on fill to show you. No fill means you don't want any background. Solid fill automatically gives you a black background. Then you can choose a color that you want. So I can decide to put the red that we have been using, or I can decide to put blue. Are we together? So you can just decide to put anything of your choice. This for chart though, please be looking at this. This for charts. These effects, we don't really, you might hardly need effects. All this, when you have the time, play with it. I advise you to play around them. There's also like the size of your chart area. If you can use a picture, if you want to use a picture as your background, can you see how everything is changing? This is just for you people when you are working with it and you want to make your chart designs more beautiful. You can go here and you can go to what's text option. In text option, you can choose the color of what the text in text option. So I can say, okay, well, I want all of my text to be what? Let's say red. So every text that you have there will be red. Everybody, I said red and I said my charts. I'm going back to chart option and I'm saying I want a solid fill of what? Black. Please, I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. This is how you change, the outlook of your chat area. Are we together? You can highlight. I'm showing you one more time. I'll show you one more time. So let me close this. I said you click on this. You right click. Go to what? Format chat area. You click on it. When you click on that, it's going to show you chat options. Then you can choose what you want. Is it a gradient fill? Is it a solid fill? If you pick solid fill, you can come here to pick the color you want, and you can put what? The transparency. Just play with this. Play with this once you have the time. Play around every single one of them. Then for the text, if you want the specific text color, you can click on what? Text options. Click on the different. If you want a solid or no fill is I don't want any color for it. I pick solid fill and I pick what? The color. You can use gradient fill, pattern fill. So I think that is all. That is all. Look at this. Sorry. I hope you saw what I just did. If you want to do the plot area, you make sure you are clicking on that plot itself. So, this is what when you click at this chart area. Plot area is another section on the zone. So you are clicking on the plot. Sorry, click on the plot itself. So when I click on the plot, it can now tell you what field do you want to use, what border color do you want to use. Do you understand? I put a solid border color now, and I say I want it to be what? Red. Can you see? Round of that chart is what? Red. That is just all. You see what I told you that once if you take all of our time. But if I decide I wanted to make this very, very aesthetically pleasing, to take all of our time. But does everyone understand what I've done so far? Is there any question? Please, I hope you guys saw what I just did here. I clicked on the third one inside. The third one inside, which is for the colors for your bar charts. So if I click on what solid fill, I can change this to what? To red. Are we together? So just play around it. Play around it. Do we have any question before I show you one more thing here? Any question? Okay. In the absence of any question, most times as a data analyst when creating your chart, see some of these things you are seeing, all this membership class, some of revenue, some of profit that is up here showing. You might not necessarily need it. Are we together? So what you can just do is that you right click on it, you right click on that chart, then go to what? Sorry, where is it? What's going on? Supposed to show me a hide field option. Like once you click on it. Okay, sorry, you're supposed to click on one of these two things in the chart, either sum of revenue or region. So if I right click on this, please, I'm trying to understand what issue this is. Because when you right click, it's supposed to show you an option to remove, to hide. Okay. Let me create another chart. Sorry. We've already moved our dashboard and added slicers here. So once you bring it here, it's not going to work. So next time, before creating a chart, what you do is, let me create one more chart from here. Please look at this before moving your charts. So I click on this, click on what? Pivot Analyze. I click on what? Pivot Charts. Let's assume I pick what? The column charts for this one. There's a column chart here. Sorry. There's a column chart here. So what I'm supposed to do before moving that, I right click on it, and it's supposed to show me what's going on. It's not showing. It's supposed to show you an option to see it. So I right click on this region here. I right click on this region. They're supposed to show me this. Hide all field buttons on charts. Please look at what's going to happen. These buttons that are here will no longer show. You don't necessarily need it here because you are going to give your chart titles. If I right click on this again, and I click on what? Hide all field buttons on charts. So can you see now? Those field buttons are gone and the chart looks a bit bigger. So when working with your dashboard, please take note of that. You don't necessarily need to put the field button, so you can remove it before moving your chart to your dashboard section. Okay, now we're showing. It's very, very funny. So see it here. This region, I right click on it and I click on what? Hide all field button on chart. Enter. Can you see that our chart now is looking bigger? And we can put, let's say we want to give our chart title. We click on the chart title. We have removed it. We click on it, we've added it. Then you can double click inside and give it a name. So you can say sales by what? This was sales by region. So just play around with it. Any question before I show you, the little things that I need to show you. Okay, so in the absence of any question, let me see if there's any question. Okay, so in the absence of any question, let's do very little revision. I told you I was going to show you as a data analyst, there's some things you should always do first. So step one, let's look at one of the data sets we've been working with. So look at one of the data sets we've been working with. Let me highlight everything there. Let's see. Let me create a new sheet. Now, always take notes of this as a data analyst. Please. Sorry, let me use all of this properly. Revenue, profits, profit margin, customer rating, payment method, then what sales. Now, I'll just give you an hint. When you get to Power BI automatically does what I'm about to explain for you. Now, naturally, when working with the data set, it should always be in what each row should always be in what a constraint. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is that it's almost like doing data validation, but it's not as wicked as data validation. When I mean wicked, the constraints are not as strong as what data validation. So when working with, please let's take a good look at this. Now, what we're trying to say is that each cells or each columns should have, if I want just numbers in this column, I'm trying to tell the computer that this place with is just numbers that is supposed to be there from my understanding. So in case somebody is coming to add something new, it will not what accept it. Let me show you. I'll explain dates last because there are two important things I need to explain. Like now, this is region. When I click on it, it's showing you what general. But I want to avoid using anything known as general in this data set. I want to keep everything constraints. So I can change this region to what text. And how I do it is that I click on this C on top. It highlights it and it's telling me everything on column C. Click on this button here. Now, these are the different constraints you can give it. You're saying I want it to be a number, a currency, account system with the same thing as currency. I want it to be date, if I want it to be time, I want it to be percentage, fraction, or what text. But I'm saying I want it to be text, so I click on what? Text. So no matter what, the constraints that we have on this place is what? Text. I'm not going to do for everything, but let's say you know. Like this one now, I'll say that the constraint that I want here is what? Text. So I click on what? D. Come up here from this general and change it to what? Text. So I've set that constraint to what? Only what? Text. Now, let's assume I'm working with numbers. Let's look at quantity sold. In quantity sold, all I want in quantity sold is what? Numbers. I don't want text there, just numbers. So what I do is I click quantity sold, change this general, change it to what? It's simple and straightforward. Change it to what? Number. Now when you know that it has been changed to number, these decimal places will appear. And if you decide that you don't want the decimal places to show, please look at this. See these two dots here. This is to what? Reduce decimal place. This is to what? Increase decimal places. So you can change it to what? Back to 0 decimal place. While it will still be on what? Number. Are we together? If I click on this, you can see automatically is what? On number. If I click on revenue. Now revenue is showing me number. I'm going to leave it that way. But for explanation's sake, please, I need to look at this. Let's assume I want my revenue to be currency. If I click on this scale, I come here, go to what? Currency. I click on what? Currency. Now it's showing me what? Pounds, but it's not what I want. It's not pounds that I want it to show me. So what I will do is I'll still click on this currency column, go to more formats, more number formats. I click on it and say it's currency that I'm using. and I can change the symbol here. Can we see it here? To the currency value that I want. So I'm clicking on this. Now you can look for whatever currency value that you want. Now, I don't think Excel loves Nigeria that much to put what Naira. Let's see. Can you see how Excel regarded us? They regarded us as NGN. But let's click on it. So this is what's stating what Naira. Let me see once again. You go to currency. After you've clicked on this and change it to currency, automatically it comes as the currency comes as the computer format of your laptop. If your laptop is in UK, to give you pounds or euros. If it's in US format, to give you what? Dollars. So let's click on what currency. I go to more number format. I went to what currency. I make sure currency is clicked. Then I come here to choose the symbol that I want. This NGN. And it's NGN because I said there's no Naira. But you can scroll through all of this. Can you see? Just keep scrolling until you see the currency that you want to use. Are we together? If it's not Naira, if it's euros, you can pick it. If it's okay, so we're lucky enough, we have Naira here. Can you see? So I can click this Naira and press on what? Okay. So our currency is in what? Naira. For percentage, look at this one more. I click on this. I click on what? Format as table. Sorry. I click on this general. Then I can click on this double point and see percentage here. See percentage here. So you just click on percentage. You tell how many decimal places you want. I leave it as 2 decimal places. I click on what? Okay. So it's increasing this because it's multiplying it by what? By 100. You get, so it's naturally your percentage is supposed to be 0. If it was 0.000 something and you want to convert it to percentage, it's multiply that thing by what? 100. I just use that to explain percentage for you. Let me use Control Z here. Let me show you. Let's assume in the data set what we had here was what? 0.4. I will want it in what? Percentage format. So I click on this R, go to this place, and click on what? Percentage. Can you see that's changed to what? 40%. Because this is already in percent, it is already a percentage. You understand? If it was in 0.00, it's multiplied by 100 to convert it to the percentage format. Then for dates, please, I hope people are following this because it's important. As a data analyst, you have to give the constraints to all of the columns on your table first. And I'll show you why, because I'm going to create one pivot table and I'm going to use the dates to explain to you. Remember, we had an issue before. So for dates, now, please listen carefully. If I click on this and convert it to dates, it's not really supposed to work. Why? The way dates works is that it looks at the date here and see if it is conforming to the date format of your system. It looks at the date here and see if it's conforming to the date format of your system. But it's not conforming. The date format of our system is year, month, day. Year, month, day. So if I click on this and I convert it to what? Date. I just click date. I promise you it's not really doing anything because date is very powerful in Excel. It has to be in the format of your laptop. So most times when you're working with date formatting, what you do is after clicking on that column, you go to what? Data. Then you click on what? Text to columns. When you click on that text to columns, you click on what? Next. Make sure the delimited is on. Click on next. Click on what? Next again. Then click on what? Dates. Now you tell it this date here is in what format? Is in what? Date is in day, month, year. So when I click on it and I click on DMY, day, month, and year, so I've clicked on it and I click on what? Finish. Can you see now? It has helped me convert it to what? Day, month, and year. Please forget that it's looking this way. You know, we put it in date format first, but look at it on top here. So if this place is conforming to the format of what you have in your laptop, then it is correct. So that means you can confirm that yes, I've actually converted that column to a date format. Remember, when working with date format, the dates must conform to the same format of what of your system. That is how date formatting works. Then another thing I want to show you is if you add commas, if you want to separate, let's say I had Ayo, comma, Mide, and I want to separate it. And I want to separate it. What I will do is I'll go to click on this A column. I'll go to data, then go to what? Text to columns. Then click on what? Delimited. Means characters such as what? Commas or tabs or to separate each field. So is what am I using to separate that field? So I click on next. Then I click on comma. You can, if it's order, you can click on others if it's a different thing, but it's comma that we used. So click on comma. As it has already told you, it's going to separate Ayo and Mide for us. Then click what? Next. Then click on what? Finish. Can you see that Ayo and Mide as what's been separated? Is there any question? Any question? Okay. In the absence
Sure.
of
So I don't really know how you got. You were trying to explain something about the percentage, then before you move to date.
okay,
Are
I'll
you
go back
trying
to
to
pass. I'll go
use
back.
it for the
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are you saying that maybe for the raw data? Are you trying to put us through? Because I knew that we're about to round up the dashboard.
Yes, we are
Before,
done with dashboard. So I said after doing the dash, we are done with Excel for data analysis. But I said I am trying to show you some things that you need to understand as an analyst before you start carry out your jobs. And I said from the beginning part with this data set that I created, where is it? I said when they've given you a sheet, make sure you convert them to the constraints for each column. So like now I said region. Yeah, so all I want here is that anything that is inside here should be what? Text. It should not be, if it sees number or decimal, it should look at it as error, as an error. So I said when I went to the home tab, you see this place here. Most times you will see general there. Said when you click on it and change it to what? Text. So make sure it is always in line with the constraints that you're giving it. So that sometimes when you start working with formulas, it's doing what's the right thing. So what I did. So it's changing each of the columns to the right thing, but we didn't do for all the columns because of time. Because almost always we see this one now is general. But I said I don't want general to be there. General means you should take anything. You can type anything inside here and it is correct. But I'm saying no, for membership class, so the only thing that you should be able to key in inside there. The only thing that you should be able to key in inside there is what is text. So I clicked on this and I went to what? You can go to more number formats and click on what? Text, this text here. I click on what? Okay. Can I say that membership has turned to text? And I said you can do this for percentage. What percentage does is, let's assume you in that row, in that column, you had 0.04. Are we together? But we know that column, okay, is it's changing because we already converted to percentage. Let me use another place. Or you can still use it. Let me change it to general. So can I see that change back to 0.04? But I'm saying no, I don't want the 0.04. Let's say we're working profit margin and it was giving us in decimal. I say no, let's see be showing me as percentage. What I do is that I click on this place. You must click on that column alphabet. Then go to this same number format. Then click on what percentage. So it automatically, remember, it is in 2%. If you want to change the percentage, after clicking on it, go to more number formats, which is this here. Click on what's this percentage, which is this here. You can change it. Let's say I don't want 2 decimals, you go in 1 decimal place. So if I click OK, let's put this as 0.4. So let's assume before what I put here was, look at it. I'm putting this here at 0.45. I press enter. I see. It's not changing now again because whatever I'm typing is directly showing me as what a decimal. Do you understand? So I've already told that inside this place, so all I want is what decimal. But before I change it to decimal, I had 0.4 inside. I had 0.4 inside. So I made that 0.4. It means this 0.4 that is showing me here, it is already a divided percentage. But show me as the full percentage, which is what 4%. Remember, percentage is always times 100. Percentage is what times 100. If you are removing the percentage to the exact value, it's divided by what 100. Do you understand, bookkeeper?
Yes.
Okay. Then I said for the date format, how date works is that you will not just click date because the date has to be in the same conformity with how your date structure is on your system. So I have 2026-02-22, which means my format is what year, month, and what day. Now, when we had the initial data set, it was what day, month, year. And I said, if we click just dates that time, we click, let me just type the dates here. Let me type the dates here so you can understand what I'm saying. So let's say the date I have here is this. Let's say the date I have here is what? Okay, let me just type the dates. So let me say 20, 0, 20, or let me use my date, normal date, 22/02/2026. Now, as you can see, step one is that this thing is in general, and the date format is not in the same, is not conforming with that of my system. So look at, and also look at this place, it's showing what 22/02/2026. So if I click general and I change it to what date, so there's short date and there's long date. So let's use this so you can see very well. And I change it to what date, and I pick a format. This is the format that is showing, right? So I click on what? Okay. Now it's still showing this way, although this column is in what? This, sorry, click on the column. I click on this and change it to what? Dates. Pick a date format. I click on what? Okay. Now, back to what I was saying. This date is still looking like this one up here, right? But it is not what look like this. It's not looking as this. This date up here is not conforming to the structure of my date formatting on my laptop, which means the date format has not worked. Please understand this tricky part about date formatting, which means the date formatting has not worked. Now, to do that, I said we'll click on that same column, go to data, the data tab, which is this up here. Click I'm clicking on the data tab. Then I click on what? Text to columns. This is it here. I click on next. I click on what? Next again. Now I'm telling that it is what? Dates. Are we together? Then I'm clicking on this, telling it that my format is what? Day, month, and what? Year. By that, I'm saying, I'm saying this thing that you are seeing here, oh, the way it is, the way the structure is, there initially. Sorry, who's that? Chimex, please, can you mute yourself? So back to what I was saying. So I'm telling my laptop that that column my laptop that column that you are seeing, oh, the way the data was given to me, oh, although the data is not looking like the dates column is not looking like the way I formatted my date on my system. But the one they gave to me, I want you to know that is in what? Day, month, and year format. 22 is the day, 02 is the month, 2026 is the what? Year. So clicking that, I'm now saying now help me convert it back to how it looks like on my what? Laptop. After doing that, I click what? Finish. Now I've done that. Can you see the dash dash dash? Although it's still looking at 2022 to 2026. But if I click on it, look at this place up here in the formula bar. It is looking exactly the same way with what? My system, which means the date formatting has what? Worked. Are we together? Or is there any question? Question? Okay, so two more things. Two more things before we end. So I've explained how to, if you have a, let me explain it again. They give you a table where you have, let's assume they gave you full name. Full name. Now, remember that hard assignment that I gave us? That I said we should split the name for the name from the like the full name, split the first name and the last name.
John Smith.
I was sorry.
John Smith, right?
I didn't hear you. Yes, yes, those ones. Yes, you can remember it. Now, I was just trying to, quote unquote, stress you. Do you understand? Now, there's an easy way to do it. Now, you will always use the trim function. Remember, I told you trim function removes the beginning part and what's the ending part for you. You get. But see that middle part that I was telling you, understand how to use all those long formulas, find blah blah blah. You might not necessarily need it in Excel. I just wanted you to understand the concept. So let's assume I had that Joe Smith now. What? Smith. Here's the full name. And how to separate this Joe and what this Smith. What to do is just I click on that column. Are we together? Then I go to the data tab. Go to what? Text to what? Column. Are we together? Then we can what? Say, I'll show you when to use delimited and what fixed width. If I click fixed width, it said what? Fields are aligned in columns with spaces between each what? Field. Directly to the fixed width, which means any space it sees between them, it should what? It should separate it. So I click on what? Next. Are we together? It said this screen lets you find the field column breaks. Lines with arrows signify column check to create a break line, to delete, to move line. So I can click this Are we together? When I'm clicking in between this, I'm saying should it's the space in between. Are we together? That I should move. And I click on what? Next. That showing me this way. Are we together? Click on what? Finish. That separated full name. Check that separated this Joe and what? This what? Smith. Now, the smarter way to do it is just Control Z. I click on that data again. Text to columns. Remember, let me still use this delimited. Are we together? Then click on what? Next. Then click on what? Space. Move this comma. That is smartest. That is smarter way to do it. I click on what? Space. And I click on what? Next. Are we together? And I click on what? Finish. So can you see it has separated it? This Joe and what? This Smith. So in real time, you can now change this heading by yourself to first name. Then you can change the other one to what? Last name. That is a simple way to do it. Do we understand, or should I do this one more time? We're almost done with the class. Do we understand? Is there any question? Okay. So in the absence of any question, let's use the next 5 minutes, for you to tell me. I'm going to send a complete project to us that we're going to do. This project tells us that you've understood what you've done so far and you've been following. But before that, is there any feedback on how the Excel class has been so far? Let me go back. Let me stop the meeting for now. We are done. If I stop the meeting, let me know. Is there any feedback or any questions from the previous classes that you would like to ask?
Is still the first class that has to do with those formula, especially that counts if and count if and maybe some other formulas, especially those questions that we couldn't get answer to on those count if.
Yeah,
So
I think I sent a. I'm not sure if you checked the link. I sent a link, a YouTube link, explaining it to everyone properly. Have you gone through that link? Through that video? I sent a video explaining the major formulas that I'm using as a data analyst. I sent it. Did you go through it? Okay, Bam.
I did, but I was still finding it difficult a bit to really understand how to, even when you put it there and you put enter, I may not really get the accurate answer. So I don't really know. Possibly maybe is the criteria I'm not really getting right or something.
Okay, let me see if I can find that. Assignments. This is the assignment. So let me go back to that particular one, that account. So let me remove this. Let me leave it. Now I told you what count does. Equals to what count. What count does? It counts the number of cells that has a value in it. count the number of cells that has what a value in it. So if I click on equals to count and I want to count from this cell, which is quantity, towards the end. Remember, I highlight it and I close it. Now what this is going to work when I am using equals to count and the cells that I'm using as what numbers. So it just equals to count each of the cells here that has what values. If that was a cell, let's assume I did equals to count to what F35. Look at the answer here first. It's 30, right? If I double click and I say you should do it up to what F35, you still give me that same 30. Can you see? Why? I told you to count to me to up to this blank space. But in this blank space, there's nothing inside. So it's not going to count it. So it's counting this as this 1, this 2, this 3, up to number what? 30. That's how count works. It counts the number of cells in a particular column or row that has value in it. And the value has to be what? Numerical. What do I mean by numerical? Let's say I still use that same count. That's equals to count. Open the bracket and I use where I have text values, which is strings. Can you see? I close it. This was giving me 0. Why is it giving me 0? Because there are things inside there. Yes, there are things inside there, but it is not number. They are not numbers. Do you understand? But so let's assume you wanted to use. Wait, do you understand that about count now first? When to use count equals to count. If I move to count ifs, or should I go
Yes,
one more time?
you use it when you use for numbers, right?
Yes, if that column has numbers, but
Yes.
it's not counting the number, it's counting the content inside. But the content inside has to be a number. You get, so this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4, this is number 5. Do you understand? That's how it's counting. It's not counting 11, 5. As long as it is an integer, as long as it's a numerical value that is inside, that's what it's counting. If it's not a numerical value, like all this central that I was using, it's like, I not see any number here. That means there's nothing here to me. I not see any number here. That means there's nothing here to me. So that's why we had 0. But let's assume we wanted to use a section that does not have numerical value. That is this kind of, it has other values, textual values, alphabetical values. What you use is count A. So that is equals to what? Count A. Are we together? And you can highlight and just use this for now. I'm into here, close brackets. Can you see? I'll now count the places we have alphabet. So this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. Okay, there's the alphabet here. Number 4, this alphabet here, number 5, number 6. Do you understand? Do you understand that about count A now?
Yes.
If I move to
Yes.
count ifs. You understand that about count A. Now count if. Count if counts with criteria. If there is a criteria. So let's assume I want to check. Let's say I'm saying you should count the number of times it sees what? Electronics inside there. So the number of times it sees electronics in this column. So I'll say equals to what? Count. Remember, it's counting that space. Count if. Now, what I need to know is that count if works for number and for alphabet. But what it does now is equals to count if. So when I say we should count if what? If from this range. So this is the range. You highlight the range. Are we together? Comma. What is the criteria? So we're saying, what are we counting? What are we looking for? Like, what should be inside there before we count it as 1? Do you get? So we're saying the criteria is equals to what? Electronics. Remember, you put this quotation if you're working with what? Strings. Electronics. Then we'll click on what? Enter. So what it's doing is that It's checking from here to the end. Anywhere it's seeing electronics, it's counting that space. So this is one, this is two, these accessories, so it will not count this place. It saw another electronics, this is three. It saw another one, this is four. Another electronics, this is five. Accessories is not counting it. Accessories is not counting it. Electronics six, electronics seven. You understand? So it keeps counting the electronics. And why counting it? You saw electronics how many times? 19 times. You understand count if? So count if from the range, you are checking from where to where. How many times did you see what electronics inside it? So it's counting the number of times you saw that value. Do you understand count if? Bookkeeper me, if I do the last one.
Yes.
Okay. Now the last one is what? Count ifs. Now count ifs is if you have more than one criteria that is checking. Now remember, according to this question that time, tell us to check for what? For electronics and what? Not. So what you do is what? Equals to what? Count. Sorry. Equals to what? Count ifs. Count ifs. Can you see with the S? You open the brackets. Now you're saying, what is the criteria range? One. Can you see? All I count, I just took the criteria range and what criteria. So the range one is what? This category. So what I'm saying is you check there first. Check for what? Electronics. Electronics. Now I'm saying after you check for electronics, I'm not saying you should just stop at the electronics. So what count if is still doing? Still filtering. I'm not saying after that, now check from all those electronics that you've counted, which one of them is in what? The not. So you highlight the second criteria, which is region. Can you see it? So I've selected the second criteria. Is what? Not. What's the string? So what is he doing? He's checking this place, the category. So after checking it, he's checking for just electronics. So it has filtered just electronics out. So in the normal sense, that means it has filtered what? 19. Now I'm saying out of that 19, don't just count electronics, count the electronics that is what's in the not. So he's checking the region that is what? Not. And when we checked, it gave us what? 6. Bookkeeper, do you understand? You understand counts, how count works now?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Any other person with question? Any other person with question based on our last classes? Okay. In the absence of any question, we have come to the end of data analysis with Excel. I'm going to share our assignments or projects. I don't call it assignment this time. Project, because this time you're going to use your brain to work. Now, one thing is that the way person A will think to solve a problem might be different from the way person B think to solve a problem. But the cocoa is bring out the proper analysis and the proper words insight, the correct analysis and the correct insight. And yeah, you're good to go. Excel is just the beginning. We still move to Power BI. And I implore you, the tools, all the tools, make sure you know all of them. Excel, Power BI, SQL, make sure you know every single one of them. You can decide to know one more than the other, as long as you know how you use them to work. But make sure you know how to use all of them. Yeah, so that is the end. The next tutor will come and teach you on what do you call it, Power BI on Wednesday. Thank you very much and good night. The link will be shared. The link for this session is going to be shared. So thank you very much. Good night. I don't think there's any other question from anybody. So that's what I'm saying. Good night. Hopefully we meet again in another section.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.